The Celebrants are insane women that dance and cackle in celebration. What are they celebrating? The Celebrants appear to worship the godskins that served as assassins for the Erdtree but lost the war against America. However, we can presume that due to the in-game events, they are celebrating the potential change in power. How are they celebrating? Well, by flaying the skin off the citizens of Lanedale, of course. These horrifying midsummer-looking enthusiasts seem to worship the godskin as you witness them prostrating themselves before a godskin apostle at the peak of Dominula, Windmill Village. The item descriptions don't give us much lore to go off of, but the young Celebrants seem to wear the blue variant of the armor. Despite their decrepit appearance, they bear crowns adorned with colorful flowers. However, this is where the beauty of these characters comes to a screeching halt. These dancing damsels fashion weapons from human bones and are used to kill, maim, and skin their victims. The only exception to this is the Celebrant skull. The item description of this morbid weapon describes that the skull at the end of this great hammer is too large to be from a human. What do you think this skull is from? Celebrants attack viciously once disturbed with both their weapons and their blood. One of the most disturbing attacks they perform is by biting their wrists and spitting their blood at you. What makes these weapons unique is that they all provide runes with every strike, the smaller weapons providing 10 runes per strike and the great hammer providing 20. So now that we're nice and inspired, let's workshop a Celebrants build. First, we must perform the grueling task of farming out their items, and I'm not exactly exaggerating when I say it's grueling. The 3 weapons you can obtain from farming these crazy ladies is the Celebrant sickle, which is a dagger, the Celebrant's Rib-rake, which is a spear, and the Celebrant's cleaver, a standard axe. Each of these items have an absolutely disgusting 0.5% drop chance, and each weapon drops off the specific Celebrant that wields them, making them even more challenging to farm when you're after a specific weapon. I farmed this aggressively and obtained multiples of every weapon, but I never got the sickle to drop even once, which specifically drops off these few mobs in blue. Their armor is a little bit easier to farm with a 1.5% drop rate, but at least the armor can drop off of all of these Celebrants. The only thing specific here is that the Celebrants wearing blue will drop the blue armor, and so on. Now for the good news. The Celebrant's skull. This weapon is looted in the open world on a corpse sitting at the end of a hidden path just north of the Windmill Village, Site of Grace. Hopefully you're hearing this before you endlessly farm the Celebrants that wield this weapon, hoping for it to drop. Just a tip if you're wondering, upgrading the weapons or using the Golden Scarab does not increase the rune acquisition from hitting enemies with these weapons. This build combines all weapons, except the daggers, for a weapon master build. We're dumping our damage focused stats into Arcane, then Dex. Since we are using the Celebrant's outfit, we have a lot of weight to work with for these weapons. Even the Celebrant's skull is notably lighter than most other great hammers. We're going to set the Rib-rakes to the blood affinity, both with seppuku. We're going to set the Celebrant's cleavers to occult or blood, setting your main hand to bloodhound step. And we're going to set the Celebrant's skull to occult or blood affinity with stormcaller. This sets you up to have a weapon for almost every situation without having to enter your menu to change anything. Toggle to the Rib-rakes and coat them with blood using seppuku for insane burst damage on enemies that can bleed or are susceptible to pierce damage. Toggle to your cleavers and jet around tricky boss mechanics, coupled with your physic that should have the thorny crack tier for bulky successive attacks with unbeatable agility. Then finally toggle to the skull hammer and spam stormcaller for a quick bleed buildup, useful for bosses in AoE situations. You might look like a crazy lady in rags, but you'll be running around the lands between as an unstoppable killing machine, collecting runes with every hit. You're going to want the Rotten Sword Insignia and Millicent's Prosthesis combination for every situation, and then I'd pick any of these talismans for your other 2 slots depending on the situation. For incantations, we thought it wasn't too lore breaking to throw in Blood Boon and Swarm of Flies, since unfortunately we don't have the spell allowing us to bite our wrist and spit blood. Wouldn't that be fun? For the best arcane scaling seal for casting these incantations, I would recommend the Dragon Communion Seal. Using this seal specifically will increase the amount of blood loss buildup that can occur from casting these bloody incantations. We appreciate you checking out another one of our build guides. If you have any requests for future guides or videos, shoot us a comment below. For more things Elden Ring, consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.